Hey everyone, in this video, we'll uncover the most valuable Abraham Lincoln wheat penny you should be on the lookout for. We'll break down what makes these Lincoln wheat pennies so special, how much they're worth in today's market, and what you need to know to sell them successfully at auction. So let's get started. First up, the 1943 Abraham Lincoln steel penny is one of the most talked about coins in American history. Not because it is extremely rare in its normal form, but because its story is unique. When people hear about valuable pennies, the first thing that comes to mind is the legendary 1943 copper penny, a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But behind that fame is the real, everyday 1943 steel penny, the one millions of people held during the height of World War II. The coin we are looking at today is the regular 1943 Lincoln steel penny without any mint mark, which means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Your coin is described as being in very fine condition with some scratches. And even though it may not be one of the high-value rarities, it still carries a story that makes it special to collectors and history lovers alike. During the early 1940s, the United States was fully committed to supporting the war efforts overseas. Copper, one of the most important materials for producing ammunition and military equipment, was needed in massive quantities. For that reason, the U.S. Mint made a historic decision in 1943. Instead of striking pennies in the usual copper alloy, they switched to using low-grade carbon steel coated with a thin layer of zinc. This gave the 1943 penny its bright silver-gray color when freshly minted and its magnetic properties, something no other regular Lincoln penny has. The coin served a simple purpose, but today it stands as a reminder of a crucial moment when every resource mattered. The 1943 steel penny, without a mint mark, is the most common among the three mints that produced this coin. Philadelphia struck more than 680 million pieces that year, and millions of them still exist today. But even with such high numbers, collectors care about condition, originality, and how well a coin has survived over the decades. Your coin, being in very fine condition, shows clear signs of circulation, but still retains good detail on Lincoln's hair, his facial features, and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Very fine condition usually means moderate wear, slight smoothness on high points, and overall honest aging. The scratches on your coin do affect its value slightly, especially because steel pennies are more sensitive to surface damage than copper coins. Once the zinc coating wears down, the steel underneath can darken, oxidize, or corrode, which sometimes leads to black or gray patches on the surface, even with the wear and scratches. A 1943 steel penny in very fine condition still holds value, mostly from collector interest and its historical story. In today's market, most 1943 no mint mark steel pennies in very fine condition sell for somewhere around 30 to 55 cents. This might seem small compared to high-value era coins, but it's important to remember that a normal circulated 1943 penny is collected more for what it represents than for its monetary value. It is a wartime coin that millions of Americans spent daily, and for many collectors, that alone is enough reason to include it in their collections. The reason so many people look up the value of a 1943 penny is because of the famous error, the 1943 copper penny. A tiny number of copper planchettes from 1942 were accidentally fed into the presses in early 1943, creating one of the greatest U.S. Mint mistakes of all time. Those copper pennies can sell for tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. But the coin you have, being made of steel, is the standard type. It is still collectible, but not in that high-value category. However, very fine condition is still a respectable grade for a wartime steel penny. Coins in this grade are often purchased by beginner collectors, history students, or people who enjoy building day-tanned mint mark sets of Lincoln wheat pennies. Even the scratches on your coin do not make it undesirable. Many circulated steel pennies have similar marks. because the zinc coating was soft and easily affected by handling. Next up, the 1938 Abraham Lincoln Wheat Penny with the Denver Mint mark is a coin that carries quiet historical charm, not because it is extremely rare or difficult to find, but because it represents a time when the Lincoln cent series was steadily moving through the years before. World War II changed everything in America. Your coin, being in extra fine condition with some scratches, holds an interesting place within the collector world. It shows enough detail and character to stand out above regular circulated examples. Yet it also carries the marks of age and handling that remind us of its long journey through pockets, drawers, and decades of everyday life. The Denver Mint produced just over 20 million pennies in 1938, a number that is far lower than the massive mintages of later years. Although it is not considered extremely scarce, the 1938D Wheat Penny is still a coin that collectors look for, especially in grades above average circulation. Extra fine condition means your coin still has strong definition on Lincoln's hair, his beard, and the finer details around the date and lettering. The reverse also shows crisp wheat lines with only light smoothing on the highest points. Even with scratches, the coin maintains its overall appeal. Scratches do affect value somewhat, but at this condition level, the coin still remains desirable to many collectors who want a nice, detailed example without having to pay the higher cost of uncirculated pieces. The late 1930s were a transitional period in America. The nation was slowly recovering from the Great Depression, and small coins like the penny played a huge role in everyday transactions. A single cent carried much more buying power than it does today, and pennies circulated heavily, often getting worn down quickly. That makes surviving pieces in extra fine condition or better more appreciated among collectors. Your coin has survived more than 80 years, keeping much of its sharpness. And that alone gives it a certain charm that cannot be replicated with newer coins. When looking at coin values, several factors come into play: rarity, condition, eye appeal, and market demand. For the 1938D Lincoln Wheat Penny, the most important factor is condition. Lower grade circulated coins from this year often sells for only a few cents. However, extra fine examples usually rise above that very basic value and enter a more respectable market price range. Even with some scratches, your coin still maintains the overall sharpness needed to qualify as extra fine, which means it stands out from the lower value pieces found in bulk wheat penny lots. In today's market, a 1938D penny in extra fine condition normally sells for about $2 to $4. Scratches might bring the value slightly toward the lower end of that range, but they usually do not eliminate collector interest unless the scratches are deep or unpleasantly placed. Most collectors understand that an old coin will have small flaws, and many actually like the natural signs of age, as long as the main design features remain strong. Your coin fits that profile: aged, lightly marked, but handsome enough to be appreciated. Higher grade examples, such as uncirculated 1938D pennies, can bring more significant premiums, ranging from $10 to more than $30 depending on luster, color, and grading. But extra fine remains a comfortable middle ground, grade affordable, collectible, and visually appealing without reaching the price levels of mint-state coins. That is why many collectors prefer this grade. It offers the beauty of the design without requiring a large budget. Another thing that gives the 1938D penny its place in the collector world is its role in series completion. Lincoln Wheat Penny collectors often aim to gather each date and mint mark from 1909 to 1958. And the 1938D is one of those coins that fits perfectly into that mission. It is not the rarest, not the most expensive, but essential to completing a full wheat penny set. Extra fine examples like yours make excellent additions to albums, because they display the design clearly while still showing honest age. It is also worth noting that coins from the late 1930s are becoming more sought after as fewer remain in strong original condition. Many coins from this era have been cleaned or heavily worn, and collectors commonly avoid coins that have been improperly cleaned because it disrupts their natural surfaces. The scratches on your coin may reduce its value slightly, but they are far less damaging than cleaning marks or corrosion. That means your coin still sits comfortably within the desirable range of original circulated pieces. Next up, the 1957 Lincoln Wheat Penny without a mint mark is one of the final pieces of the long-running wheat cent series, a design that had already been in circulation for nearly half a century. Even though it is one of the more common late-date wheat pennies, each coin still carries a link to the era of the 1950s, a time of rapid change in America. When the economy was growing, new technologies were emerging, and the penny was a meaningful part of everyday purchases. The coin you have is described as being in dirty condition with some scratches, and that level of wear tells the story of a coin that circulated widely, passing through many hands over the years. Today, collectors continue to seek wheat cents from all eras, sometimes for their historical value, sometimes for personal nostalgia, and sometimes to complete entire sets. Even a lower-grade 1957 penny has its place in that collector interest. The 1957 wheat penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, and because it carries no mint mark, we know that is exactly where it came from. More than 282 million pieces were struck that year, a very large number, which means this coin is not rare when compared to early wheat cents from the 1910s, 1920s, and 1930s. The design remains the same familiar portrait that Americans had seen since 1909. Abraham Lincoln sits boldly on the obverse, facing right with his distinctive beard. The word liberty at his left and the date 1957 positioned neatly to the right. On the reverse, the famous wheat ears curve along the sides, framing the denomination and the words E pluribus unum, even after decades. The wheat penny remains one of the most beloved coin designs in U.S. history, and collectors still value them highly as a group. Even if some dates are more common than others, when evaluating the value of your coin, the two biggest factors are condition and overall eye appeal. A coin in dirty condition with scratches naturally falls into the lower circulated grades. Dirt, discoloration, and marks from handling are normal on older pennies that have been in circulation for many years. These do not make the coin worthless, but they do affect the price because collectors prefer coins that are clean and retain sharp details. If the coin is very dirty, or if the scratches are deep, dealers tend to price it on the lower end of its value range. However, even with wear, a 1957 penny still holds more collector interest than modern cents because it represents the last era of the wheat design before the switch to the Lincoln Memorial Reverse in 1959. 4. Most circulated 1957 pennies without a mint mark. The typical value in today's market ranges from just a few cents to around 10 cents. That is the range for coins in average, dirty, or scratched condition, similar to the one you described. While this may not seem high, it is still several times its original face value, and many collectors buy these coins in bulk to fill coin albums, create starter collections, or resell them in sets. If your coin were in a cleaner and sharper grade, like very fine or extremely fine, its value could be closer to 20 to 30 cents. And if it were in uncirculated condition with bright original red color, the price could rise to a few dollars, sometimes reaching $5 or slightly more, depending on how strong the luster is. But in dirty, scratched, circulated condition, a realistic and fair value remains. In the low cents range, another reason collectors still enjoy coins like the 1957 wheat penny is because it is one of the easiest and most affordable dates for completing a full wheat cent set. Early coins in this series can cost hundreds or even thousands of dollars in high grades. But late 1950s pennies are accessible to everyone. They allow beginners to take their first step into the world of collecting without needing a large budget. Many coin enthusiasts started their love of collecting by finding a 1955, 1956, or 1957 wheat penny in their pocket change years ago. Even now, though they are harder to find in circulation, people continue to search through old jars and boxes, hoping to discover wheat pennies exactly like yours, even in dirty condition. Your coin tells a real story. It may have traveled through shops, been dropped on sidewalks, passed between children, or sat in a drawer during the early years of the Cold War. Its scratches and wear are reminders of its long journey. And although the dollar value is low, the historical value remains strong. Next up, the 1947 Lincoln Wheat Penny with the S. Mint mark is a coin that carries the charm of the post-war era, a time when America was rebuilding, families were growing, and the economy was shifting into a period of strength and optimism. Even small coins like the penny were used daily and carried real purchasing power, passing through countless hands, stores, and pockets. Your coin, described as being in fine condition with some scratches, represents that long journey through everyday life. It may not be in perfect shape, but the marks and where it has collected over the decades become part of the story that makes old coins meaningful. The S Mint mark on your coin tells us it was produced at the historic San Francisco Mint, a branch known for producing smaller quantities compared to the Philadelphia or Denver mints. That gives the 1947 S penny a slightly more interesting presence among collectors, especially for those trying to complete a full wheat penny detanment set. In 1947, the San Francisco Mint produced just over 99 million wheat pennies. While that number may sound large, it is significantly lower than other years where production reached hundreds of millions or even billions. This does not make the 1947 S penny rare, but it does place it in a less common category among late 1940s wheat cents. The design is the same classic style that collectors admire, Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, facing right with the simple yet iconic details of his face, beard, and coat. The date 1947 sits clearly to the right, and the small S mint mark just below it shows its origin. On the reverse, the familiar wheat ears curve around the phrase 1 cent, reminding us why collectors still call these coins wheat pennies even after so many decades. Your coin is listed as being in fine condition, which means the high points of Lincoln's portraits show wear, but the major details remain visible and clear. Fine condition usually means there is noticeable smoothing on the hair, cheek, and jawline, but no heavy flattening. The wheat lines on the reverse show some wear as well, but much of their shape is still recognizable. The scratches on your coin do bring the grade down slightly in appearance, and a dirty or marked surface can reduce collector value. However, many collectors accept minor scratches because circulated coins naturally show signs of use after more than 70 years, as long as the coin has not been cleaned harshly or corroded badly. Normal scratches are not a major issue. When it comes to value, the 1947's penny, in fine condition, typically sells in today's collector market for around 5 cents to 15 cents. That is the general range for circulated coins with some wear and surface marks. The coin is common enough that its value is not high, but it still holds more appeal than modern pennies because wheat cents have history behind them and are no longer made. If your coin had been in very fine or extremely fine condition, the value could increase to around 20 to 40 cents. If it had been uncirculated with original red luster, the value could rise to several dollars, sometimes even reaching the $10 range for truly bright and clean examples. But in fine condition with scratches, the realistic value remains modest. Despite the low monetary value, The 1947 S penny remains important for collectors who enjoy building sets. Completing a full run of wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958 requires having each date and each mint mark, and the 1947S plays a role in that mission. San Francisco mint coins always carry a little extra intrigue because they were produced in smaller numbers than Philadelphia issues. Collectors like the feel that they are adding something slightly less common when they place an S mint coin into their album. Even in fine condition, the 1947S fits nicely into a collector's book because the design remains visible, honest, and true to the era. The history of this coin adds depth to its charm. In the late 1940s, pennies were used constantly for everyday purchases, paying for newspapers, telephone calls, small toys, and candies that cost just 1 or 2 cents. The coin likely passed through many hands during the post-war boom. Maybe during the early years of television, the birth of suburban neighborhoods, or even during the first beginnings of the Cold War period. Every scratch and mark on the coin reflects the years it spent in circulation before eventually being saved by someone who recognized its age and wanted to preserve it. Next up, the 1930 Abraham Lincoln wheat penny without a mint mark is a coin that captures a piece of American history from the early 20th century, a period when the country was in the early stages of the Great Depression. Coins from this era carry stories far beyond their monetary value, showing the wear and circulation of small change during challenging times. Your coin, described as being in good condition with some scratches, represents that journey through decades of use and even with its minor imperfections. It holds interest for collectors and history enthusiasts alike. The lack of a mint mark indicates that it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, which was the largest producer of pennies during that period. This coin is part of the classic Lincoln Wheat Penny series, which began in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth and continued with the wheat reverse design until 1958. In 1930, the Philadelphia Mint produced approximately 136 million wheat pennies, making it a moderately common date in the series. While it is not considered rare in today's market, the coin is still sought after for its historical significance and for those working to complete a full set of wheat pennies from 1909 to 1958. The design is timeless. Abraham Lincoln's profile faces right on the obverse, with his distinctive beard and facial features capturing a recognizable likeness that has endured for more than a century. The word liberty appears to his left, and the date 1930 sits clearly to the right. On the reverse, 2 wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America, along with a national motto, E pluribus unum, forming the design that gives the wheat penny its iconic name. Your coin is in good condition, which in numismatic terms means that it has seen circulation but retains much of the important detail. Lincoln's face and coat show some flattening from wear, though the features are still recognizable, and the lettering remains legible. The wheat ears on the reverse show moderate wear, but their outline is still present. The scratches on your coin, while lowering its aesthetic appeal slightly, do not remove its value entirely. They are a natural result of decades of handling, and many collectors understand that coins of this age often bear such marks. The patina, scratches, and slight discoloration all tell the story of the coin's life. And for some collectors, these imperfections make the coin feel more authentic and historically meaningful. In terms of value, a 1930 Philadelphia Lincoln Wheat Penny in good condition with scratches is generally modest. In today's market, such coins typically sell for around 50 cents to $1. While this may seem low compared to rarer or uncirculated coins, it reflects the fact that the 1930 Philadelphia penny is a fairly common date. Coins in higher grades, such as very fine or extremely fine condition, can sell for $2 to $5, while uncirculated examples with full red luster may reach $10. or more depending on their surface quality and preservation. The key factors affecting value are condition, eye appeal, and whether the coin has been cleaned or damaged. Your coin, though showing scratches, is still a genuine example that would appeal to collectors seeking a mid-grade coin to complete a set or to own a tangible piece of 1930s America. The historical context of this coin adds another layer of interest. Pennies like the 1930 Lincoln were used every day during the early years of the Great Depression, when money was tight and small change mattered. A single cent could buy a newspaper, a candy bar, or a few minutes of a public phone call. The coin likely passed through countless hands, from shopkeepers to families, surviving decades of circulation before being saved by someone who recognized its place in the series. Each scratch and mark is a small record of its journey, a reminder that coins are not just currency, they are artifacts of daily life. Collectors today still pursue 1930 wheat pennies because they offer an affordable entry into the Lincoln Cent series while connecting directly to an important period in U.S. history. Coins like yours allow enthusiasts to complete date-and mint mark sets without spending large sums, while also providing a physical link to the past, even in good condition with scratches. The 1930 Philadelphia Lincoln wheat penny remains a meaningful and collectible piece. In conclusion, your 1930 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in good condition with scratches is worth approximately 50 cents to $1 in today's market. It is not a high-value rarity, but it is a coin with historical significance and enduring charm. Its design, age, and the story told by its wearer make it a fascinating piece for collectors, students of history, and anyone interested in the journey of everyday American currency. This coin reminds us that even small, humble pennies have a story to tell, spanning decades and connecting generations through their quiet presence in daily life.